Hello, Taurus, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a reading for the end of January 2023, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future. As you can see, I've already gone ahead and pulled the oracle cards and clarified those. I have the overall reading or energy for the reading, as well as the decks that I'll be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Taurus, I am excited for this one. We are about to dive real deep into some concepts, though. I can already tell. So, bear with me because this one's gonna be a long one, I think. In your recent past, you have released your blocks with the Eight of Swords. This Eight of Swords, and you will hear me say this every time I pull this card in tarot, this Eight of Swords in reverse, you have it upright, but in reverse, this is my favorite card in tarot because this is releasing yourself from the limiting beliefs that keep showing up in your life. Now, one of the concepts that I'll also mention in every single one of my readings for the most part is that 5%, let me start, 95% of our movements, choices, actions, and decisions, it's actually like 94 point something, but I'm pretty sure it rounds up to 95, is subconscious. 5% of our movements, choices, and decisions is actually conscious. So when we talk about the concept of manifestation, a lot of what we miss is that a lot of what manifests into our life, because manifestation is always taking place. We are always manifesting and creating our lives. Now, whether we're consciously involved in that or not is up to us, because 95% of us is already creating our reality. Now, 95% you've had and have been dealing with in your recent past limiting beliefs. So whether if you're trying to manifest love for yourself or if you're trying to manifest financial abundance, there's a part of you that has a limiting belief. That limiting belief could be, I don't deserve it, or I'm not capable of it, or it's not possible, or whatever it is. That's was needed to be addressed in your recent past. So your recent past might have felt like a lot of frustration, because I feel like in your current energy, you are now still kind of dealing with frustration because you have the Temperance in reverse with be proud of yourself. I love this because you are not yet where you want to go, where you want to be, but you are forgetting to realize that you are so much further than you were in your past. Because I do still see that you're dealing with some frustration, but there's a need to remember that you are already, you are where you prayed to be before. It's that concept, right? Like if you look around, you realize that you have what you've prayed for to this point. In your current energy, I feel like you're still dealing with a lot of frustration, a lot of things just not working out, whether it be for you or they're just not, it doesn't seem like they're working out for you, or it doesn't seem like they're falling into place yet. Understand that that's happening for a reason, because your overall energy for this reading, and possibly my new favorite card, you have equanimity and harmony. These are two cards of finding balance within. Now I'm going to actually read the quote that's in alignment with this equanimity card. The quote says, "If we allow our thoughts to rise and dissolve by themselves, they will pass through our mind as a bird flies through the sky without leaving a trace." I'm not going to try to pronounce that name. This is probably going to show up backwards anyway, but that's the quote up there at the top. Now, the reason that I wanted to read that, because then there's this definition, and I knew what this word meant, but I don't think I understood exactly what it was saying in the reading, because I had to look it up, and it says mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in a difficult situation. I saw, and I feel like I saw this tweet for this specific reading, but I saw this tweet that was like, your life is a product of your response to it. And I definitely feel like that's this energy that I'm feeling in your reading, because both harmony and equanimity to me is finding an inner peace, an inner balance, regardless of what's going on in your immediate environment. So that could look like you're trying to manifest a new relationship for yourself, and you look around and you say, well, I have absolutely no prospects and no idea how that's going to happen, but keeping the faith of, but I know that it's all working out for me because the universe is always providing me with what I want and need. Now, your immediate future, you have see the bigger picture with the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is a foundation within. Up until now, you've been building on this Eight of Swords in your 95%. So what I mean by that is you're trying to build abundance coming from a lack mindset. And if you're coming from a lack mindset, you will always end up in that frustration of not either of experiencing loss or of not yet seeing whatever it is that you're trying to create for yourself. Now, this is weird. I mean, we already in the first 5 minutes of this video have dove into some really deep concepts when it comes to spirituality. I don't know why I'm pulling that deck out. So I'm only excited to get deeper, but I do feel like you kind of need to stick with me to the end, because I feel like things are going to get a little bit complicated whatever it is that I'm going to need to explain here. But let's see. Let's start with looking at Taurus's recent past, because I feel like your recent past was a lot of experiencing those limiting beliefs coming to life. And so right now is a time to reflect on your past and realize what limiting beliefs do keep coming up and what do I need to heal. Recent past for Taurus, clarifying, release your blocks with the Eight of Swords, your limiting beliefs being your blocks. Recent past for Taurus, clarifying, release your blocks. So this is about the Seven of Pentacles in reverse with the King of Cups. This is about how you invest in your life, because and the emotions behind how you invest. Because I feel like you've had a tendency to invest, and I've said this already, from a place of lack. So for instance, if you're trying to create abundance, you're saying, I need abundance because I have nothing, as opposed to I have everything I want and need in this present moment. Therefore, I only want anything that happens to me from this point forward is addition to my life. It does not complete me. And the only way that you can get into that energy, is realizing, and the way that I was able to truly start to kick my anxiety was when I realized that if you can always bring yourself back to the present moment and realize I have everything I want and need to keep breathing in this present moment, and that's all I need right now, without having to worry about the next moment, then you will realize that you always have everything you need in each and every present moment, even if you don't see how it's going to be fulfilled in the next moment. And so this is a lot, because the Temperance in reverse, that to me is also a lack of not being present, and you have that in your current energy. And so yes, I know we're talking about your recent past, but your recent past has led you here. Your current circumstances are a result of your past beliefs and thinking. Now, I had someone comment on one of my videos when I had said that in the beginning, and they were like, you're basically saying that what has happened to us is our fault. No, not at all, not the case whatsoever. And if you've experienced some deeply traumatic events, then please understand that I am not saying that that is your fault that those happened. What I am saying is that there's a level of you, a 95% of you, that you don't really have control over in this moment. The only way you have control over it is by rebuilding habits. The 5% becomes your 95%, but you have to think and believe something over and over and over again in order for that to become a part of you. Now, until you are consciously involved in creating that 95% of you, that 95% of you is a product of your environment. How you were raised and what you experienced throughout your childhood and up until now has taught you a lot about how this world works and about your life. Now, the problem is that your beliefs are limited to your experience. So you are only believing that what is possible is based on what you've experienced. So therefore, you are not able to see the limitless possibilities of the universe, because as of until now, you have only been aligned with again what the limits of what you've experienced. And so this whole reading and what has really come up in your recent past is the readjustment and reevaluation of how you've been investing in things and making sure that you are coming from a place of having an abundant mindset as opposed to a mindset of lack. Recent past for Taurus. The Six of Swords with the Knight of Swords. It's interesting because you've both been stuck and rushing at the same time. So you've been stuck in a certain energy, but trying to rush to get out of that energy. And I understand that 100%, because we always want to change what we don't love about our lives. But here's the thing, and that prayer that comes into my mind where it says, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That right there is, I really feel like this entire reading is understanding that There's a need, and that's what this equanimity is being able to accept what you can't change while still having faith that things are always getting better for you, that everything is happening to you and not, or for you and not to you. And really diving into that belief that what has happened to you is all that's possible, because you don't know what's possible for you. That's why you have see the bigger picture in your immediate future. So you've been stuck because you've been trying to change your environment, your 3D world, and expecting that to make you feel a different way. When in reality, you need to change your inner environment in order for that to be reflected back at you externally. It's as within, so without. I believe that quote actually starts off with as above, so below. Recent past for Taurus. So a lot of limiting beliefs in your recent past were brought to the surface so that you could release those blocks. So yeah, you were stuck in I literally just said that. That's my favorite card in tarot, that 8 of Swords in reverse. So you were stuck in this sun in reverse energy. You were stuck in this just like why isn't everything happening? This lack of happiness, this lack of joy. And it was all happening because you needed to release your blocks. You have to feel it to heal it. You have to feel it to release it. So a lot of those limiting beliefs got brought to the surface, and there's a need in your current energy, which I feel like we're going to get messages on in a second, to go back in so you can release this 8 of Swords. You can release yourself from what's kept you blocked. Your pain always has a purpose, but you have to heal from it in order to really see what that purpose is. And I feel like that's what is happening in your current energy, because you have come far, Taurus. You have, be proud of yourself in your current energy. You've obviously done the work and you've done the healing, and just because you're not quite where you want to be yet, that does not mean that you should be frustrated with yourself. It means that you should focus, because that right there is the whole problem, is you focus on what you don't yet have, and as opposed to how far you've come. Focusing on the good, focusing on the positive, focusing on what you have created, so that what you focus on is what you attract more of. So if you focus on the good, you're going to attract more of the good, because that's just the way the world works. The more that you focus and you tell yourself on a conscious level good things, the more those good things become part of that 95%, the more that 95% becomes your reality. All right, current energy for Taurus. Current energy for Taurus, clarifying, be proud of yourself with the Temperance in reverse. The 10 of Pentacles and the 9 of Cups with the Tower. You're looking for emotional fulfillment through material circumstances. That's why in your current energy, you're having a hard time seeing how far you've come, is because you're not focusing, you're not looking at the bigger picture. You're not seeing how far you've really come, because you're looking at your material world and you're saying, well, I'm in the same spot as I was whenever. And it's like, no, you're not, because yes, maybe your circumstances look similar, but between then and now, what you've been doing is changing your inner world. You've been working on your inner environment, and that will eventually be reflected back at you in your external environment. So there's a need to go within and realize how far you've come, because you have come very, very far. Taurus, and I feel like there's a need to focus more on that, because that is what's going to create better for yourself in the future. Focusing on your material world and saying, well, I'm not yet here, I don't yet have this, I want more of this, I need more of this. Focusing on what you don't yet have is only going to bring about more lack. And you have nothing to lack. You have, yes, what you've been through in your past, it was frustrating, and it sucked, and it didn't feel good. But it was trying to shine a light on these limiting beliefs that you keep bringing into that keeps manifesting into your material world, because you have limiting beliefs. This 10 of Pentacles, this is long-term abundance here, but you're looking for emotional fulfillment in your material world. Your long-term abundance is going to come from within. When you realize within that you're never lacking, then you are always abundant. However, it's hard when you look for your 3D world to validate that belief for you. Your 3D won't validate anything. Your 3D world is merely an illusion. And that's why I feel like in your immediate future, you have see the bigger picture. It's looking more at like the world from like a 5D angle. Current energy for Taurus. current energy for Taurus, clarifying, be proud of yourself with the Temperance in reverse. There it is, the 5 of Wands with the 7 of Cups in reverse. You have a tendency, oh goodness, with the Knight of Wands in reverse. Taurus, please stick with me during this reading, and please understand this is not me being critical, but you have a tendency of choosing conflicting energy. So what I mean by that is you have a tendency of believing that when you have a thought pop up that says you are never going to be financially stable, or you are never going to find the love you truly deserve, or you are never going to get there. When that thought pops up, you have a tendency to believe it. And that right there, that's why I read that, is I'm going to read it again. If we allow our thoughts to arise and dissolve by themselves, they will pass through our mind as a bird flies through the sky without leaving a trace. Meaning, learning to become the observer of your own thoughts and not identify with them or intellectualize them is the only thing that's going to set you free. That is the key to setting yourself free, because your thoughts are merely just feedback from your brain about what's going on. They are not you, and they are not a truth. Your thoughts and the emotions behind your thoughts are a product of what you've experienced. So you don't believe that you're ever going to find love or financial abundance because you've never experienced what it is that ultimately you deserve. And so you when you choose to believe that conflicting energy, that aspect of you that doesn't actually know it's possible, when you choose to believe that part, you are in turn creating more lack for yourself. Now, that is so normal and so natural. So please understand that you're not doing anything wrong. Learning to master your own thoughts and becoming the observer of them, it really is, it's like watching a movie, is you get to feel a thought pop up and you get to go, that's really interesting, and then you let it pass. Now, one of the key aspects of this is learning not to take a positive or a negative stance on your thoughts. If a thought pops up, try not to say that's a good thought or a bad thought, because already when you try to put a positive or a negative to it, you're already identifying with it. So this is about learning to be present, and meditation is really the only way that I'm aware of that helps create this practice. Yoga, I'm sure, definitely intensifies it for sure. But the practice of meditation and being present and learning to let your thoughts come and go without attaching to them and letting them send you down a rabbit hole, because when you allow yourself to go down rabbit holes, you allow yourself to believe in the negative, right? Now, something my therapist once said is I was in therapy with her for about 6 months at this time when she told me this. And I kept having the same kind of conversation with her. I was like, it's interesting because everything in my life seems to be going really well, but I'll have a thought pop up and it'll send me into an anxiety spiral. And I'll talk to her. I'll be like, I'm worried about my relationship ending, or I'm worried about not having enough money. And she'll ask me, well, does the evidence support your fears? And I'll say, well, no. Or I'll even say, well, yeah, I could see how this, that, and the other thing. And she eventually got to the point, we talked about it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And she eventually said, you need to just stop. That's the only way that you are going to set yourself free. She said, you need to just stop. Just stop choosing to go down those rabbit holes. And so for me, what I have is in my brain, I have little rabbit holes of my fear of the future, my fear of losing my significant other, my fear of not having enough money. I have these fears because my fears are always going to exist, and I know they're not going to go away. It's whether or not I get lost in them. It's up to me to choose that. And I have little stop signs in front of each of these rabbit holes that basically are just don't choose to believe that rabbit hole, because you don't need to. Even if my circumstances are saying and are poking at those fears, they're getting lost in the fear and the stress and the anxiety and the frustration of what could possibly happen. That rabbit hole does not help me at all. It sends my brain into an anxious spiral, and then I start to attach to that anxiety, and then that anxiety literally starts to show up into my life. And so right now you have a tendency of almost choosing conflict. Now, you could be doing that in your actual, environment too, is choosing to be at, at conflict, or, at differences with the people around you. You're choosing the conflict in your life, but all external conflict always stems from internal conflict. If you are in a conflict in your external environment, look at how you're in conflict in your relationship with yourself. Because there's always going to be an answer there. Always turn within, guys. It's the only way forward. All right, current energy here for Taurus. the Eight of Pentacles in reverse and the Two of Pentacles. This is, to me, how do I say this? You think that your actions, and I feel like I've already said this a couple of times, but you think that your actions in the material world are going to provide you with this balance that you're looking for, this Two of Pentacles, this harmony within, this inner harmony. That, whether or not you realize this on a conscious level, that is ultimately what you're searching for. You're trying to find this balance between the light and dark within you. That is the entire concept of a spiritual journey, is learning to hold the fear and choose the faith. But it's a balance, and it comes from like years of internal practice and understanding that nothing in your external environment, no relationship, no job, no amount of money, nothing is going to provide you with that balance that you're ultimately seeking within. You had two cards here of staying balanced within, harmony and equanimity, and now you have the Two of Pentacles showing up. Right now is a time of focusing on your inner environment. You have be proud of yourself with the Temperance in reverse. Just because things aren't yet where you want them to be doesn't mean that they're not further along than they were before. You have a lot to be proud of. You have a lot to be excited about, but you have a lot to be proud of. So make sure that you don't forget to live in the present moment. Appreciate this moment for what this is. This moment is a part of the journey. This moment is a part of getting you to where you're trying to go. It is not about the destination, it's about the journey. The destination is not going to make you feel any better than you feel right now. Your present moment is all you have. Nothing that you gain or lose can make you feel better than you feel when you are in the present moment focused on you. That right there was the absolute hardest truth for me to really truly internalize on this journey, was that nothing in my future that happened, positive or negative, was ever going to make me feel better for the long term than I feel every time I come back to the present moment. It might give you, jolts of highs and things like that, but at the end of the day, it's never going to make you feel better for the long term. Your long term, that 10 of Cups that you're ultimately searching for, that long term emotional fulfillment where you feel good and you feel that equanimity, which might be my new favorite word, it comes from you. And you're the only person that can fulfill you for the long term. And I feel like I just lost a lot of viewers when I said that, but please understand that if you're sticking with me, that you're on the right track here. All right, immediate future here for Taurus. The Lovers, the Ace of Wands in reverse, and the World card. I like this because your immediate future is you starting to see your worth here. Up until now, you've been dealing with this Ace of Wands in reverse energy, this lack of, almost like this lack of excitement and passion for life. Like you've lost it because of what you've experienced, and you've experienced so much frustration that you just it's like you're constantly currently in this state of frustration. Like you're always frustrated about where you're at and you're always wanting to be somewhere else. That's where there's that need to pull yourself back to the present moment and focus on the good that you have in each and every moment, because the good is the only thing that's going to bring about more good, right? So you have the Lovers in your immediate future, which I like because that is starting to see your worth and starting to realize that it really is about what's within. The Lovers to me is another balance card in a way, where it's like this inner balance, like this inner peace, this inner harmony. Because the Two of Pentacles, it's a little bit more external. It's balance in your external world. It's you get back what you receive. Every time you give love, you receive love. Every time you give energy, you receive energy. It's reciprocation in a way. And I feel like you're focusing so much on your material world and why you're not receiving that reciprocation, that Two of Pentacles, when in reality you need to see how you're not giving and receiving that on a subconscious energetic level with yourself. This is about your relationship with yourself. This is not about your relationship with anyone else. And if you're dealing with even I'm not saying this to everyone watching this reading, but if you're dealing with what you believe is a twin flame, then understand that's even further to say that is about your relationship with yourself. That is not about your relationship with anybody else. The other human being involved in that connection is not the focus. The focus is you. Immediate future for Taurus. All right, let's see here. Taurus, I like this because you had that Four of Cups. There's the Five of Swords with the Six of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the Five of Cups in reverse. What is meant for you will not pass you. You have not lost anything at all. You've only lost the idea of what you once thought your life was going to look like. Right now, you've been dealing a lot with this energy, and this energy is your biggest block. Your past has taught you on some level that it is you against the world, that you have to fight and claw and fight your way through life, that everything that you want doesn't come to you with ease, that it's always a struggle, that you always have to be in pain to get what it is that you want. And that truth is not a truth, or that belief is not a truth. That is a belief that has then become your truth because your beliefs are reflected in your reality. If you believe it's going to be difficult to get what you want, if you believe you have to struggle for what you want, you are going to see that in your reality. Seeing the bigger picture, and the Four of Wands to me is a mindset of being able to understand that you are the only one in charge of your future. Nothing and no one can get in the way of what is meant for you. And if things look and feel like they're not going the way that you want them to, understanding that just because they're not going the way you want them to does not mean that they're going the way does not mean that they're not going the way they should. Because the way that they should is the way that you will ultimately want them to work out. The universe and the spirit knows so much more about what you want and where you're trying to go than you do right now. So focus on the bigger picture and your immediate future. That's going to be a big aspect of your thinking, is realizing what part of your past has kept you from believing that the universe has your back. Because there's a part of your past that has taught you in some way, shape, or form that the universe does not have your back, and that you have to be in control of everything that happens to you. And that is just not true. It goes back to that prayer I said, right? Accept the things you cannot control. Change the things you can. What can you control? You can control you. You can change you. You cannot change your environment until you change yourself. Immediate future for Taurus. So let go of our past. Find our relationship with ourselves and stop doubting our manifestations, Taurus. Magician in reverse with the Ace of Pentacles. Your doubt will create more doubt. Now, you doubt because you haven't experienced. Again, that 95% of us, unless we have a conscious hand in it, it's a product of our experience. If we've experienced disappointment, we expect disappointment. If we've experienced frustration, we expect frustration. If we've never experienced our dreams coming true, it's not easy to expect our dreams coming true. So understand, you have the Ace of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. There's an opportunity here for you. There's an opportunity that aligns with you, that is exactly what you want. But the thing is you have to get to this Four of Wands energy. You have to build that foundation within, so that manifestation can then become your external environment. It always starts within. All right, Taurus, we're hopping on over to the extended. I'm going to dive deeper into these energies and give some advice. And then I have an actual advice card to pull from Spirit at the end. Thank you guys so much for the support of my channel. It means the absolute world to me. I do hope that these readings resonate and provide you with the clarity that you're ultimately looking for. And I hope to see you in future readings. Bye, Taurus.